So in yesterday's class, if you remember, we discussed about alerts handling using an auto IT program. So we have seen how to handle any kind of an alert using a normal alert class, using a robot class, and using an auto IT program too. So we have seen all these scenarios regarding alerts. So what would be our next scenario to handle them? Okay, so what would be our next scenario to handle them? So let me look into these scripts. So we have a scene about a Chrome browser. Next, data driven testing is the most important step. Okay, so data driven testing. Okay, so let's see about a data driven testing concept in the today's class. You know that a data driven testing is the most important concept, right? So data driven testing is the most important concept. Max to max or the project needs these kinds of data driven testing only. So what is a data driven testing? What we are gonna do under this data driven testing? The simple point what exactly we are doing under this data driven testing means we are accessing the information. Okay, we are accessing the information from Excel file. Okay, simply we are accessing the information from an Excel file, which we can call it as a data driven testing concept. Okay, which we can call it as a data driven testing concept. So what exactly is the data driven testing? How we are going to implement this data driven testing? Assume that you would like to log in into the application with 100 different users. In those cases, we can store all the 100 users information. Okay, all the hundreds of user information in an Excel file, and we can, or our script can access information from there. Okay, so we will ask our script to access the information from that Excel file itself. So the whole concept which we can call it as a data driven testing, and generally this data driven testing can be implemented with the help of POI files, JXL jar files. So data driven testing, okay, data driven testing can be implemented with POI jar files, JXL jar files. The third one is POI JXL jar files, text files, properties file also. Okay, properties file also. And even we are gonna perform using data providers annotation, and even parameterization also comes under this. Okay, parameterization also comes under this data driven testing only. So these are all the various kinds of methods, guys. Okay, these are all the various kinds of ways using which we can implement the data driven testing. That's fine. So how exactly this is gonna work? What exactly we need to do over here? From where, if you remember, in our today's class, let's start discussing about the second method, JXL jar file first. So I'm just discussing about the JXL jar file first. If you remember, whenever we are downloading the Selenium setup, by the time itself you have downloaded a JXL jar file, and we have added the content present in a JXL jar file. Right, we have downloaded the JXL jar file and we have added the content present in a JXL, or else we have added that JXL jar file to our project also. Okay, this JXL jar file is used to perform data driven testing. Okay, this JXL jar file is used to perform data driven testing. Okay, that's fine. This JXL jar file is used to perform data driven testing. Okay, so what it will happen means, in order to perform this data driven testing, we are using this particular jar file. Okay, so how we need to do that? What are all the various steps in order to perform the data driven testing using a jar file, JXL jar file? The first one is create an Excel file of type 2007/2003 format only. My JXL jar file will support XLS format files only. Okay, my JXL file will support XLS format only. Okay, it doesn't support XLS6 formats. Okay, it does support with an XLS format itself. So I would like to create a file, write the information into the file, and save the file. Later, we need to write a certain Java commands. What are all the Java commands we need to do? We need to select the file. We need to open the file, and the Excel file contains multiple sheets. We need to specify the sheets, and then in an Excel sheet also we do have a multiple cells of data. Okay, we do have a multiple cells of data, so we need to specify in which cell our data is. Okay, we need to specify in which cell our data is. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So done up to here. So these are all the various steps, and later the last step is retrieve the information from the cell using a WebDriver program. Enter this information into application. Okay, so these are all the various steps which we need to follow, guys. Okay, these are all the various steps which we need to follow. Okay, that's fine. So these are all the various steps. So let's start with the first step, creation of an Excel file. See, I'm just selecting a file, and I am naming my file as content as Gayatri 1, Gayatri 2, drag this, and then Ramya 1, Ramya 2, drag this, Shruti 1, Shruti 2, and even drag this. I just specify this tab, and I save my information in my D drive. While saving, I need to select Excel 97/2007 workbook, and I'm giving a name as Suma. Okay, Suma file. Just save it. Go back to the D drive, check for Suma file, right click properties. See, the extension is a XLS itself. Okay, the extension is an XLS itself. That's fine. Done up to here. So we have created a file, we have returned some information, and we saved that file also. So it means altogether these three steps got to finish. Now I need to write down the Java commands. In order to write down the Java commands, first of all we need to create a test script. So here I'm creating a script, data driven using JXL jar file. Okay, that's fine. I'm just creating a data driven script using a JXL jar file. I specified that. Okay, so after which, what we need to do means, I have created this script. Generally, the first step over here is select the file, open the file. So in order to specify where exactly that particular file is, we are using a file input stream command. Okay, we are using a file input stream. File input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream of, where is your file? So my file is there in my D drive with a name as suma.xls. I have created that. See, in order to perform this one, we need to import this one. So it's a Java command. We are just importing that particular stuff. That's fine. After this one, the next step is we need to open that particular file. So in order to do that, workbook dot get workbook, which file? FIS. Whatever the file is there, get open that particular stuff. Whenever I place in my cursor, it is returning as the return type as a workbook. See here, usually for any kind of a method, whenever we place the cursor on that method, on the starting of this text, it will display the method return type. Okay, it will display the method return type itself. And as of now, it is returning as a workbook. So I am storing it as a string WB is equal to. It will fail and it show me that you need to save the return type as a workbook only. After that, this workbook contains multiple sheets. I would like to get a sheet. The sheet is 0. I just specified my sheet as a 0 and I am storing it as a string s is equal to. It is throwing an error stating that the return type should be a sheet type itself. And now in the sheet there are multiple cells are there. I would like to select a cell. So in those cases we are going for a get cell command, wherein which we need to pass two different parameters. So for the get cell we need to pass column count first and the row count later. Okay, for a get cell, we need to pass the column count first and as well as the row count later. Okay, and that too, the columns and rows are starting from 0 onwards. So, for suppose I would like to retrieve Gayatri 7. So it's in my first column 0, 1, 2. So the information is in a 0th column. So I'm just giving it as a 0. And it is in which row? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th row. So 0 comma 6. It will select that. Dot get the contents is a method which we are using in order to get the content from that particular cell. Get cell is a method which is used to select the cell, and the get the contents is the method which is used to get the contents. String x is equal to system.out.println as a x. Now run the script and check out what exactly it is returning. It was supposed to return a Gayatri 7 and a Gayatri 7 got returned to the console as well. Okay, it was supposed to return Gayatri 7 and Gayatri 7 got returned to the console. Guys, if you clearly observe, we used a get workbook method which will get that particular workbook. Get sheet method which will select that particular sheet. Get cell method which will select this particular cell. Get the contents is the method which will retrieve the content from that particular cell. I'm just printing that information. But my intention is I need to use this information in my WebDriver program. Now I'm creating an object to my WebDriver. New Firefox driver. I have created an object to my Firefox driver, and the driver.get, okay, driver.get www.bing.com, I just ask it to open the bing.com application. Soon after opening the bing.com application, I would like to identify the search field wherein which I would like to enter the value whatever we are retrieving it from the file. So let me open the bing.com over here, bing.com application. Right click inspect element with a firebug. It is having an ID property. Copy that and specify in your program. That's fine. Sb underscore form underscore q and then search operation or else entering a value itself. Now run the script and check out whether Gayatri7 is entering in the browser or not. It's been executing the script. Gayatri7 got entered over there. That's fine. As of now, it is entering a single cell information. But my requirement is not to enter a single cell information. I would like to enter entire column information and row information also. For those cases, what I am doing means for int I is equal to 0, I less than S is the sheet dot get rows, which will get the total number of rows. And then what I am doing now means, see here the get contents, copy this whole stuff, paste it here. It's not a X, it's a Y. What I am doing now, from the sheet get cell, it is getting the total number of rows. It means the column number is changing here. Okay, the row number, okay, get rows, it is getting the total number of rows. See here, it is getting the total number of rows here. As it is getting the total number of rows, the loop will rotate on a row itself. Hence, fix the column number and changing a row number. So what it will happen, this is my column number and we are changing the row number. So when we run this program, what it will happen means, it will print starting from Shruti 1 to Shruti 12 to the console. Okay, not only the Gayatri one, it will print a Shruti 1 to Shruti 12 to the console itself. So if we would like to enter Shruti to the bing.com search field, again here I need to add a simple command stating that y, and that too after which, before performing this action, I would like to clear the content present in the field. Okay, now run this script. Run as a Java application. My script is getting executed. See, it's been performing the actions as well. So on, all the values got entered over there. That's fine. So this is the way how can we retrieve the entire rows information. And now I would like to retrieve the entire columns information. In those cases, int I is equal to 0, I less than s dot get columns and then I plus plus. I dot get the columns I plus plus. I just specified that. Now here what I am doing now means get the columns. It is getting the total number of columns. So the column number is a keep on changing. So fix a row number. So copy this line of codes and paste it out over here. Whereas I am changing my column number as a I and a row number as a 2. Sorry, I am changing my I value, which is a column as a dynamic value and a row as a 2. When I run this script, what it will happen means it needs to print Gayatri 3, Ramya 3 and as well as a Shruti 3 to the console at the bottom of the script. After Shruti 12, it needs to enter, see, Gayatri 3, Ramya 3 and a Shruti 3 got returned to the console. So this is a simple script. How can we perform data driven testing, which is accessing the rows information, which is accessing the columns information as well. Am I clear for everybody with this data driven testing concept, or do you have any questions for me regarding this stuff? You can ask me if you people are having any kind of a questions. Gayatri, Vijay and Shruti, am I clear for you three? And Sunita, fine. Fine. So this is the way how can we perform data driven testing using, okay, this is the way how can we perform data driven testing using a JXL jar file. Okay, so this is the way which we need to perform using a JXL jar file. And the next jar file is a POI jar file. What is a POI jar file? What is the difference between a JXL jar file and as well as a POI jar file? The simple thing is the purpose of both a JXL jar file and a POI jar file is one and the same. Okay, the purpose of a JXL jar file and as well as a POI jar file is one and the same. Then, what is the difference between these two? The basic differences between these two is the JXL jar file will support XLS format, whereas the POI jar file will support XLS and as well as a XLSX format also. Okay, so and not only this particular one, the JXL jar file version will be updated very, sorry, it's not frequently updating. Whereas if you go for a POI jar file, the POI jar file version is a keep on updating with the new features. Okay, keep on updating with the new features itself. So that's the reason we are just going for this POI jar files. Okay, so the basic differences between a JXL and as well as a POI jar files are we can access the data from latest formats as well. Okay, and these files will keep on upgrading. Okay, keep on updating. These are the two basic reasons why we are going for these POI jar files than a JXL jar file. Okay, fine. Then the next point is how we are going to implement these data driven testing using a POI jar files then. So this is all about the data driven testing using a JXL jar file, guys. So the next point over here is data driven testing using a POI jar file. Okay, so the next concept what exactly we need to discuss over here is data driven testing using a POI jar file. How this POI jar file is gonna work? Why we need to do that? See, we haven't added any POI jar files to our test script. At we need to add the POI jar files to our test script. And then, in order to add these POI jar files, we need to download them first. See here, I do have a reference with me for the POI jar files, hence I am directly using them. So right click on a project, build path, configure build path, add external jars. From the add external jars, I am selecting a POI folder, and from the POI folder I am selecting all the jar files and I am clicking on a open button. So all the POI related jar files are got added to my test scripts. Okay, all the POI related jar files are got added to my test script. The next point is, okay, the next point what exactly we need to do is, okay, in the POI jar files, we just created the stuff now. Now, let's create a Java class with a name as a POI files. So here, I'm creating a class with a name as data driven using POI jar file, and I created a main method for that too. Data driven testing using a POI jar file. What exactly we need to do under this a POI jar file then? Why we are going for this a POI jar file? What exactly we are performing under this a POI jar file? See, in order to work on this POI jar files means we need to use a customized class. We need to use a customized class which we have already prepared. Which we have already prepared. So, a class in which we have implemented all the methods which supports data driven concepts, and that particular class is an XLS reader class which we have already created. So the only thing what we need to do means simply add that class to our projects and simply create an object to the class, and with which we can perform any kind of an actions defined in that class. Let me show you this one. So here, first of all, in order to show this one, let me open the class which contains all the methods. See here, XLS reader is a class which contains get a row count as a one method, get cell data as another method, wherein which we need to specify the sheet name, and we need to specify the column name and as well as a row number. So this is the new method. So we are getting the data from a cell by using its a column name also. Okay, we have written a customized logic in such a way that it will retrieve the information from a cell, okay, with its column name and as well as a column number also. So we do have two different methods to get this information from either a column name or else a column number also. And not only these two methods, we do have set a cell data, clear the data from a cell, create a sheet, delete a sheet, like that. We do have a n number of methods defined in this particular class. So whenever we have added this class to our project, and when we have created an object to this class, with the help of that particular object, we can access all the methods defined in the class. So I'm just copying this code, the entire XLS reader class, and I'm pasting it in our Mukesh project. Okay, so I'm just pasting it in our Mukesh project. See, paste. See, automatically this class got copied here. Okay, this class got copied here. That's fine. Done up to here. So this class got copied over here. The next step, what exactly I need to do is, the process is one and the same. The only difference over here is, okay, the only difference over here is we need to create this class, okay, and to which we need to pass the methods. Okay, that's fine. Let me do this stuff over here. So I am opening this class, and now in this particular class I need to create an object to a class which contains a methods. XLS reader is a class which contains a methods. Hence, I have created an object to my XLS reader class. Whenever we are creating an object, on the right hand side it is throwing an error message. If you remember the concept of a constructor, if a class is having a constructor, while creating an object to the class which is having a constructor, we need to pass those parameters. So here it is looking for certain parameters. The parameters, what exactly it is looking are a string type which is a file location. okay, which is a file location, the string type which is a file location. So in order to specify that, we are using a system.setProperty command. System.setProperty, to which I am setting a property to my path which is d colon. I just set my path as a d colon. Path I have created as a d colon. After setting the path as a d colon, the next step what I need to do means here system dot get the property of a path, to which I need to create a file first and I need to use that file. So I am closing my previous Excel file and I am creating a new Excel file. The first column name as a uname, the next column name as a passwords. Uname as Ravi1, Ravi2, Ravi3, so on, and password 1, password 2, drag it. I'm directly saving this file in my D drive with Gaia3 saved. I'm just saving this file with the name as a Gaia3 only. Save it. This file got us saved right now. So I need to specify my file Gaia3. What is the extension? Go back here. Search for Gaia3 and identify the properties. It is having an Excel SX format. So the Gaia3 is having an Excel SX format. Gaia3.XLSX format. As I told you that the basic difference between a JXL and a POI files is JXL will support for XLS and a POI will support for both XLS and XLSX format also. That's fine. System.set property, we are setting a value. This is the value to a variable. Using system.get property, we are getting the value from a variable. Okay, we are getting the value from a variable. That's fine. Done. Once we are done up to here, the another point what exactly we need to do is I just specified up to here. Later, after creating an object name dot get cell data from the sheet 1 with the column number as a 2 or else a column number as a 1, row number as a 1, and a stored in a string x variable system.out.println x. Let me run this script and check out what exactly it is returning. See, it returned the value as a password 1. See, it means, let me open this file, the password 1. So we asked it, see here, the column count and as well as a row count. So my column count and my row count. So Gayatri 1 got returned to the, password got returned. For suppose, if I change it to 2 and now when I run this script, the password 1 need to be returned to the console. That's fine. So it is returning a single cell data, but my intention is I need to use a for loop to print the multiple cells information. Int I is equal to 2, I less than table dot get row count for the sheet 1 I plus plus, get row count I plus plus. So we are getting the total row count and we are just incrementing that particular I, and later table dot get cell data from the sheet 1 from the uname column and the cell value as a I. Okay, the cell value as a I. That's fine. Uname column and then that's fine. Okay, get cell data. That's fine. I just specified that. It is getting the information simply store the information in data is equal to. Okay, and later what I am doing means Ravi 12 string username is equal to Ravi 12. I just store this information, and right now if data dot equals the ignore case of a username, the meaning of this one is from the Excel file it is retrieving the information and it is storing the information in a table or else in a data variable, and we have already defined a username variable wherein which we stored Ravi 12. So what it will happen means it will compare the value present in a data variable which is retrieving from a file and which is given in a script. If this is one and the same, then table dot get cell data from the sheet 1 only, but get the information from the column I and print that password. I'm just printing that password. Okay, see the logic, whatever I have written is a simple thing. We are asking it to get the information from a uname column. See, we are asking it to retrieve the information from a uname column itself. It is getting all the information and it is storing in a data variable. And later what we did means we just have given a username as a Ravi 12, and later I just asked it to compare if the value whatever we have given is there in the file, then get the information from the password column and print that. So when I run my program now, this time it needs to return password 12 to the console. Okay, this time it needs to return password 12 to the console. Okay, so let's see how this is gonna work. Run as a Java application, it's been executing that. It is returning password 1. Why it is returning a password 1? What is the issue over here? Why it is returning a password 1? Guys, if you clearly observe, the column name, U as a uppercase, name as a lowercase, from the PSWD, P as a uppercase and SWD as a lowercase. Whereas in a script, we have specified all the lower cases. That's the reason it's not working. Generally, it's a case sensitive. Whatever the information we have defined, we need to pass the same information. See, the password 12 got returned to the console right now. That's the simple point, guys. So this is the way how can we retrieve the information based on the keyword whatever we have supplied, which we can call it as a keyword driven testing. So in the data driven testing, we are passing certain keywords. Based on the keyword, we are retrieving the information. For suppose here I have retrieved the information like this, right? Table dot get cell data from the sheet 5, column name is uh, first name and the row name is a 2. See here, I need to create a fifth sheet then for fifth sheet, and the columns are first name, last name, mobile. Okay, first name, last name and a mobiles. So what it will happen, first name, F name 1, F name 2, and then L name 1, L name 2, drag this 1, 2, 3. This is a mobile number. So I have stored this information. See here, if this keyword is there, then we are switching to a new sheet. Based on the keyword, we are changing the information. Okay, based on the keyword, we are changing the information which we can treat it as. Okay, based on the keyword, we are changing the information which we can treat it as a keyword driven testing. Okay, which we can treat it as a keyword driven testing. Yes. Am I clear for everybody, or do you people have any questions for me regarding this concept? Is this concept clear for you all? Fine. Done up to here. So this is all about the data driven testing using a POI file and as well as using a POI file and as well as this JXL jar file. Still we have a few more data driven testing concepts which we will discuss in our next class, guys. Okay, which we will discuss in our next class. Okay, that's fine. So that's all I have. Catch you again in the next class.